Next up, we've got Carlo D'Angelo, and he's going to pivot to the growing threat that crypto criminal enterprises pose to NFTs. And as somebody who was hacked, Google me, for a lot of money in a SIM swap a few years ago, I'll be paying close attention.
Appreciate it. What's up, everybody? Thank you. And I'm really honored to be among some of the most intelligent, brightest people in this space. It's truly a privilege to be up here. So I'm Carlo D'Angelo. I go by DeFi defense lawyer in the space. Would love it if you follow me on Twitter. I also host a show on Rug Radio, which is called Law Line with Ray Jenko, where we talk about new and emerging issues in Web3 law. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I've been doing this for 25 years. A lot of that time I've been defending federal criminal cases. So I was asked to talk about the growing threat that criminal enterprises pose to the NFT space. Here's the long and the short of it. It is an emergent, growing threat that we need to be aware of. How are criminal enterprises doing this? Well, let's first be very clear. Criminal enterprises suggest some elaborate thing. It is not an elaborate thing by any stretch of the imagination. It can be one person, it could be a terrorist organization, it could be a group of criminals. I believe in the presumption of innocence. I defend the presumption of innocence every day. However, there are bad actors in this space. How are they taking advantage of this space? There are several ways, one of which is the sale of illegal goods via the blockchain. Look up, if you're interested in knowing more about that, the Silk Road case. I view that as the most infamous and probably the origin of blockchain crime. But facilitating crime through the internet, the sale of drugs and the payment for those drugs via the blockchain is one serious and emerging threat. Second threat is ransom and malware. Malware case that you should look at is the Samsam case. 2 Iranian nationals who infected critical infrastructure computers with malware and then extorted those infrastructure computers and those infrastructure networks by sending them a key. Pay this Bitcoin fee, we'll de-encrypt your files. That is the second major emerging threat that we're seeing in this space. The concealment of transactions. You've heard KYC and AML. These are terms that are going to be very relevant and very important in this space going forward. For cases on that particular point and the concealment, you've got that couple in New York who just got indicted for probably the largest Bitcoin money laundering allegation ever, $4.5 billion. Does anyone know how they found that $4.5 billion? They executed an arrest warrant at the couple's house. The couple was scrambling. The wife was trying to find her cat under the bed. She had several devices all over the place. They caught her in the process of trying to deal with one of her devices. In any event, guess what? Had their secret key in the cloud. Secret key was found. They unlocked $4.5 billion in Bitcoin. So, a word for security. Tax evasion is the last major aspect that we're going to see a lot of blockchain crime. There are several tax experts here. I'm not even going to touch that. So, why is it a growing threat? It's a growing threat because law enforcement is extremely frustrated with decentralized, unhosted wallets. Decentralized, unhosted wallets provide potential bad actors the perceived opportunity to conceal themselves from detection. I say perceived because that is a misconception. The government has incredible resources at its disposal for finding these enterprises, these entities, and these wrongdoers. I give one example that my colleague Zach gave, and that's the Frosties NFT case. These 2 young men are charged in this particular district with the first ever NFT criminal prosecution. It is wire fraud money laundering. It's a classic rug pull case. They went through their roadmap, provided the community with what they believed their vision was, sold out, and then allegedly pulled the rug on the community, closed all of their websites, moved the money to another wallet. Classic conduct that we see all the time in this space. In this particular instance, these 2 young men thought they were beyond the reach of the government. Well, what did they do? The misconception is, I've got an unhosted wallet, I'm anonymous, I'm good. However, how did you on-ramp your crypto? Coinbase. What does Coinbase do? KYC, AML. When the government comes knocking on Coinbase's door, they're going to hand that stuff over. What else did they do? The Fiverr account that the artist who drew the art on, how'd they get paid? Credit card. Didn't take long for the government to circle back and go to mom and dad's house and knock on the door, and we like to talk to Junior. So that is a total misconception. Now, in response to this, in October of 2021, the United States Department of Justice launched the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. They are not playing. It is a very thick PDF that talks about the growing threat, the enforcement mechanisms that they have in place, the international cooperation that they're doing to fight this stuff. And it's not only collaboration with law enforcement and regulatory bodies. Understand that we can look for patterns in the way that they have enforced previous criminal conduct for predictors of what we can expect to see in this space. One of those predictors is private sector collaboration. You're going to see the government working with white hat hackers, with private enterprises to try and unravel the mess that these criminal enterprises orchestrate when they tornado the money into several wallets in the hope of trying to conceal their behavior. Well, there are very sophisticated algorithms, and in that Bitcoin couple we talked about, the $4.5 billion case, that's exactly what they did. They used a private sector company to use a very sophisticated computer algorithm to unravel all of that tornadoing of the cryptocurrency. And that's how they found those transactions. So the threats are imminent. Are they taking it serious? You better believe they are. Because the new director that was announced in February of that particular task force is none other than the prosecutor who prosecuted the appeal in the infamous Silk Road case. Ms. Choi is a very seasoned Department of Justice prosecutor, very serious, very well-versed, involved in the Panama case, involved in the Silk Road case, so they are deploying resources. And I can tell you, being on the ground, talking with prosecutors, talking with federal agents, they're working on this stuff around the clock. This has got them busier than most other areas of law. This is a hot-button topic. So what are they doing to aggressively prosecute? Well, they're going after money exchangers. You've heard it before. In the United States, if you are in the business of exchanging money and you are not complying with anti-money laundering and the Bank Secrecy Act and KYC requirements, you could be subject to prosecution for being an unlicensed money exchanger. What do illicit criminal enterprises do? They want to go to entities that will help them to take the money they've made from their fraudulent schemes and move it. They'll do it at a commission. They're not licensed, so they're not asking any questions. There's no KYC. They're facilitating money laundering. So that's one area. Second area is phishing and social engineering. The biggest threat is not sophisticated algorithms and software. It is human error. Human error is the #1 way that people get victimized in this space because unwitting people, especially in the NFT space, FOMO is the biggest problem. The anticipation, the excitement of getting in on something that nobody else knows about causes you to click on bad links and give away your wallet. These are some of the areas that they are really super hyper-focused on. I talked about rug pulls. I suspect and I predict you are going to see the prosecution going forward of many more of these rug pull cases. There are people out there that have acquired a lot of ETH and think they got away with it, but I will tell you from doing this for 25 years, the government has the resources, and if they don't have the resources, they'll go into the private sector and they'll find the resources. I think I'm running short on my time because I see you lingering. You either have a question or you're telling me I'm about to run out of time.
Both, actually. I was going to ask, you are about 17 seconds away, but I was surprised to hear the focus on kind of drugs and KYC. SIM swaps, and also sort of the newest thing is where all of a sudden you'll see QR codes that effectively are phishing links.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it is on you to protect your keys. We have a tremendous responsibility in this space to protect our keys because we've taken responsibility for this. It comes at a great cost. You've got to be careful in what you do. I'll say this in closing. The greatest threat to the proliferation of this technology, to the problem with onboarding new people into this technology, is if we don't resolve these threats, the average consumer doesn't have the patience to do what we do. We know the pain, we know the sickness we get every time we hit on a link and mint something new. Did I just get wrecked? Okay? People don't have patience for that. They want an easy UI. They want a risk-free experience. If we don't overcome these threats, that's going to be the single biggest problem we have in getting mass adoption of this technology. I'm happy to answer any questions. Give me a follow on Twitter because I wake up every morning and try to deliver content to all of you to educate you. I'm happy to do it. I'm very passionate about this stuff, and I'm honored that you took the time to come see me. Thank you.
Thank you.